The economics of losing everything. Why custody destroys men chasing fairness. They'll swear up and down they're doing it for their kid. Every dollar drained, sleepless night, court date, lawyer email, they'll swear it was all about protecting their child. They'll convince themselves they're noble, others too. But it's a lie. A neat little story to cover up the reality. The real reason most men torch their lives in family court isn't fatherhood, it's ego. Pride dressed up as parental duty. The itch to be right, the need to be seen. The temptation to have their side of the story validated by the judge, by the lawyers, by their friends, by their own ex. They can't let it go, and they'll ruin themselves chasing that dragon. I know it, as I've seen it. I've done it, and it nearly destroyed me. But the lesson wasn't just personal, it's structural. Custody isn't won through self-destruction. It's won by staying cold, playing position, and by playing position and staying focused on the result, not reactions. What red pill theory missed about family court. Here's where most of the RP crowd falls flat. The sidebar teaches men to cut their losses, walk away, to rebuild their life on their terms. It's brilliant for dating, works for breakups, works for post-divorce frame, but it doesn't apply to family court. You can't just walk away from court. You can't next your judge or your ex when there are orders in place, custody exchanges scheduled, and lawyers ready to pounce on every misstep. RP teaches you to avoid women's chaos by being outcome independent, but with family law, the outcome will be imposed on you whether you like it or not. And worse, the court doesn't care about your frame, your logic, your principles, or your personal sense of justice. They care about orders, compliance, documentation, solutions they can rubber stamp and forget. They're overworked. They don't want your story. They want your paperwork. I've said this before. Court isn't therapy. You're not there to unpack your story. I've covered that how therapy was useless once you're in the legal meat grinder. Court doesn't fix anything, it just logs it. This is where most RP men crash and burn. They think frame, stoicism, and sexual strategy apply to court. Well, not in the way you need it to. Family court isn't about frame, it's about position. And position requires boring, meticulous, ruthless structure. My descent into ego-driven war. I learned this the hard way. I started my custody war thinking my logic would save me. That if I just presented the facts clearly enough, the court would see my side. I thought the truth mattered. I thought reason mattered. Months digging through old emails, compiling text messages, organizing documents, and charting her lies. I built spreadsheets that would make a fucking auditor weep. I documented every incident, manipulation, every backhanded move she made. I became obsessed. I thought I was protecting my son. I thought I was being strategic. But I was feeding my pride. Digging through emails, drafting affidavits, putting my pain on paper just to prove her wrong. Every affidavit I drafted wasn't about building a stronger case. It was about putting my pain on paper and forcing someone to read it. And the more I leaned in, the more I lost. My health tanked, work performance collapsed, alienated friends, stopped sleeping. I became the guy who couldn't stop talking about his ex, and still, I told myself it was for my son. Well, it wasn't. It was my ego, plain and simple. Court doesn't just drain your money, it drains your time. Every hour spent documenting her lies, filing motions, preparing affidavits, is an hour you didn't spend being a father, building your business, or strengthening your position outside of court. She'll drain your wallet, but your ego will drain your clock. Here's the test. If you could get your exact preferred custody schedule tomorrow, would you still want to keep fighting her in court anyway? If the answer is yes, you've already lost. You're not fighting for your kid anymore, you're fighting for pride. The shift from frame to position. The turning point came when I realized none of it mattered. I sat through a hearing where a judge barely glanced at the mountains of evidence I submitted. They skimmed. They asked only 2 questions, then rubber-stamped a temporary order and moved on to the next man on the chopping block. That was a key moment. I saw the machine for what it was. The court didn't care about my story or my ex lies or my son beyond what was necessary to check their boxes. They wanted paperwork, compliance, a clean file to close. That's when I dropped the frame game and started playing for position. Position isn't sexy. Position isn't dramatic and doesn't feel good in the moment. But position is how you win. It's showing up on time. No, not 60% of the time. It's showing up every single time. No Sex Panther odds allowed. It's keeping your finances clean. No missed payments. No red flags. It's keeping every message cold, short, transactional, but never escalating. Making your parenting plan simple, boring, and easy to approve. No emotional pleas or long justifications. Just solutions they can stamp and move on from. That's position. It's not about being right, it's about being ready. The purity test that destroys men. Here's the trap most men never escape. They want the perfect win. They want the court to punish their lies. They want the order to fully restore their name, their role, their dignity. They want everything they lost back on paper. Sorry, but there's no clean victory in family court. Every win will be ugly. Every gain will come with trade-offs. More parenting time, higher costs, favorable order. Better believe there will be more restrictions elsewhere. You'll never walk out with everything you want. The men who survive are the ones who drop the purity test, who stop expecting the court to hand them a moral victory, who accept that the game isn't about fairness, it's about ending the game with enough intact to rebuild. It's like I wrote in last week's Thursday threat point. You're not her ex anymore, you're her opponent. And the judge doesn't give a damn how you got there, only how clean you look on paper. The longer you chase the perfect win, the more you bleed. Every extra motion, every affidavit, every round of litigation drains your resources. They think they're fighting for their kids, they're not. Men lose chasing the perfect win. Pride is a luxury you can't afford here. You're not fighting for your kid, you're fighting for your ego. Systems over sentiment, every time. This is where most men need to hear it straight. You don't need therapy. You don't need another group chat full of divorced dads whining about their exes. You don't need another podcast circle jerk about healing your inner child. You need a bulletproof system. Spreadsheets, calendars, custody logs, and receipts. That's what wins here. Systems, not feelings. Simple, boring, relentless systems. Therapy won't fix a missed filing deadline. Healing won't stop a judge from siding with her if your paperwork is sloppy. But systems will. Not just spreadsheets and logs, though. They apply to how you talk to her, too. And that's where this rule comes in handy. The 3-sentence email rule. Every message I send to her now follows one rule. 3 sentences or less. The first sentence states the topic. The second sentence states the decision or next step. And the third sentence ends it, as anything more than that turns into evidence for her. And anything less than that looks evasive to court. This rule alone has cut my stress in half. I keep a personal ledger for custody costs. Every lawyer fee, court filing, mediation bill, and even indirect costs like lost work hours. Not because I'm chasing her for reimbursement, but because I want to see in black and white what every ego-fueled decision costs me. Most men never do this, though they should. The 72-hour rule, impulse control system for court moves. I've learned to never file anything in court within 72 hours of feeling pissed off. I wait, reread, run it through my systems, and only then do I send it to my lawyer. Every rushed decision I've made in court costs me, and every delayed one helped. The emotional ROI check, simple sanity filter. I run one quick check before I take any action in court. I ask myself, does this improve my legal position, or does this just let me vent? If it's just venting, kill it. No man's ever gotten parenting time from a long-winded Gmail crash out. Custody isn't won by being passionate or persuasive. It's won through weaponized predictability, being boring on purpose, showing up every time, never missing a deadline or sending that emotional message, becoming so predictable that the court can't ignore your consistency. Once I finally accepted this, I stopped chasing her, stopped reacting to her bullshit and trying to win. I started playing for position. I automated every payment, rent, utilities, child support, everything. I logged every custody exchange in my spreadsheet, date, times, notes, screenshots. I treated every message like it was a potential exhibit in court. No emotion, no extra words, no bait taken. I cut every unnecessary expense and focused on stability. I rebuilt my health, sleep, diet, exercise because no one wins exhausted. I kept my job steady. I became ruthlessly boring. And slowly, it worked. The court saw me as consistent, reliable, stable. Her drama stopped landing. Accusations fell flat. My parenting plan looked reasonable and easy to approve. I didn't win because I was right. I won because I was the fastest path to lunch. The ugly truth most dads won't accept. This is the part most men can't handle. You don't lose in family court because of her. You lose because you made it personal. You lose because you let her bait you into a war of egos. You lose because you wanted the court to validate you instead of just closing the file and moving on. The men who win aren't the most righteous, they're the most disciplined. They win by staying boring, steady, and unshaken. No chasing. No fantasy wins. Just enough time, enough ground, enough peace to rebuild. Then they walk away and let her keep punching the air and swinging at shadows. Whether it's therapy, threat point, or text message wars, court doesn't reward your feelings, it rewards your discipline. And your discipline shows up in your paperwork, not your pain. Stop telling yourself you're fighting for your kid. Pull out your calendar, pull out your financials, pull out your legal documents. If someone else reviewing your court history, would they see a father quietly positioning himself for the long-term custody, or a man chasing emotional justice? Well, your outcomes will tell you exactly what you're fighting for. Stop chasing the win that doesn't exist. Keep records, keep position. Let her fight herself. You've got shit to build.